The bell on our porch never seemed to mean anything more than the mailman, an old neighbor, a casserole. For 10 years it had been ordinary in its little way, a gentle chime in the rhythm of our quiet life. That is, until the night it rang, and the ordinary cracked, revealing the darkness beneath. We called the police in the dark. Breath fogging in the kitchen light, because Emmy had been gone hours and the world had shrunk to one impossible thought. What if she didn't come back? Jack held the receiver while I sobbed into his shoulder, the weight of our unspoken fear pressing down on us. Outside, the woods pressed up against our field like a secret. Pines, moss, and paths Emmy had already mapped in a child's mind. She loved the woods, their hidden trails and whispering secrets calling to her adventurous spirit. We all thought, naively, that we knew them. Officers came, their boots dull on the porch, flashlights drawing halos through the fog. We hunted every acre until our legs shook and the light gray of morning folded into a stranger's sky. Desperation fueled our search, but the woods remained silent, refusing to yield their secret. No footprints. No dress hem snagged on a branch. Nothing. The woods had swallowed her whole, leaving behind only an empty space in our lives. The town, small and neighborly, with porches where people still waved, took turns searching until hope thinned into routine, and the posters on telephone poles browned at the corners and peeled away. Even their collective efforts couldn't penetrate the mystery of Emmy's disappearance. Time does a thing to grief. It layers it. At first, everyone held us, fed us, cried in the kitchen with us, sharing in our pain and offering what comfort they could. Then weeks passed, then years, and you sit smaller inside the absence until only Jack and I fit. He never stopped answering the phone, clinging to the faint hope that Emmy would call, that the nightmare would end. I stopped expecting it, the silence on the other end a constant reminder of our loss. I learned to live inside that hollowed place, where Emmy's laughter glittered in old home movies, and the woods lay dark, not as an invitation, but as a threat, a constant reminder of what we had lost. What would have been her 16th birthday, we made cake and watched a film she loved. An old, bright thing we used to watch together before that night. We pretended, clinging to the illusion of normalcy as a shield against the pain. We pretended. The TV light pooled across the room, and for a moment, when Jack sang the wrong words, the house was a house again, filled with the echoes of laughter and love. The phone cut through the film like a knife, shattering the fragile piece and plunging us back into the nightmare. One ring, two. Each ring a hammer blow against our carefully constructed facade. Jack's hands were quick and furious. He answered before the third, his face a mask of desperate hope. I watched him, a cold dread creeping into my heart. He put the phone down, his face unloading joy as if it had been a burden. Then he said 2 words that didn't have room in my chest. They found her. We drove like people who had been rehearsing this moment for a decade, fast and messy, a desperate race against time and doubt. At the station, a woman stood there, taller, older, hair too long, but Emmy, unmistakably, with the same pale eyes that had used to catch the light on the porch and hold it whenever Jack walked by. A ghost returned. He ran to her and wrapped himself around her like a man who'd been learning patience as punishment, his joy a raw and overwhelming force. I watched and felt the room slip away, the world tilting on its axis, as the impossible became real. She looked at me and said, "Mom," as if asking a question that needed an answer to make the world right again. But the world had already been irrevocably changed. Her skin had the fragile look of someone who'd been washed out by something larger than time, as if she had been submerged in a darkness that had leached away her vitality. Tears came, explosive and unearned, a torrent of guilt and fear masquerading as relief. She clung and then released and looked at us both as if expecting a demonstration. Who were we? She didn't know, the years of her life erased by trauma and loss. The officers murmured something about amnesia, about a head injury, about being found beyond a county line. They had questions with professional mouths and frightened eyes, probing the mystery of her return. I walked home behind them with Emmy between us, like a live thing we had lost and found in a different season, the past and present colliding in a terrifying and surreal way. I learned then what it was to have mercy, and to be certain at once that mercy had been given, and that it was a thin, dangerous thing, a fragile shield against the darkness. Emmy did not remember the night she disappeared. She could not summon the name of the creek or the place where the dirt dug her initials into the world. Her mind was a blank slate, wiped clean by trauma. She could not call back the script of her own life, beyond a few bright flashbulb memories, fragments of a past that seemed like a dream. We fed her, gave her old toys, let her sleep beneath the quilt she had chosen when she was small, trying to rebuild the life that had been stolen from her. The town brought pies and hymns and awkward hugs, their attempts at comfort tinged with a morbid curiosity. Jack cried in public with a manly, rapturous relief I had never seen, his joy a stark contrast to the guilt that gnawed at my soul. I did not cry. Relief in me was not soft. It had teeth, a cold, calculating thing that masked the truth. I lock the doors at night. I check the windows, the guilt weighing on me more heavily each night. Tonight, it is her voice on the stairs, soft, calling my name the way the woods once called hers. Jack has gone upstairs with a tray. The house smells of coffee and syrup, ordinary and terrible at once. I stand at the threshold of a room with my hand on the knob, feeling the grains of the wood like a pulse. When I open the door, she is sitting up under the pale quilt, eyes wide, a smile that does not reach the low places of her face. For a second, she is only the child I loved, and in that second, my knees want to fold. Then the second after that, my mouth fills with the echo of water.